This week on Camera Talk, part 2 of my Noctilux series. So today, last episode we looked at the Noctilux itself. Nice, right? Look at that glass. Woo! $13,000 worth almost of glass. This week, I've already done an episode also of my TTArtisan's 50mm 0.95, and I want to do a head-to-head this week. Looking at what's the difference between something that's this expensive versus something that's this expensive, and see, can we compare them? Will this blow this one away because it's 10 times the value? Who knows? Let's see it together. So, hey, come on down and let's find out with me.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. All right, as the intro says, part 2 of my Noctilux series, but I'm comparing it to the Chinese.
Ancient Chinese secret.
TTArtisans. What's TT stand for? I hear something like the thinking artisan. Well, this is their version of a Noctilux, and it's pretty good for what you get. So we're gonna take a dive into that. But first off, as I said, last episode we looked at just the Noctilux itself. So I went through the the history of it and whatnot. It was brought into this world in 2008. Designed by Mr. Peter Carba, who is world renowned as a lens designer. He's designed a lot of pretty fantastic lenses out there for Leica, and this one's no exception. It's again 50mm 0.95. The Noctilux history goes back to 1966. Helmut Marx and Peter Sindel created the first Noctilux, the 1.25, and that went on until 1975. Then 1976, Walter Mandler created the f1. That went on until 2008 when it was replaced by Peter Carba's version, which is the 0.95. And it's a good lens. But what did I bring up last time? That price tag. Brand new, this thing runs roughly around $12,900, give or take a little bit here and there depending on where you're buying it from.
No way.
But it's expensive, again for a lens, a 50 millimeter lens. So again, that was in 2008 when that was launched. This one, the TTArtisan, I did an episode on this too. You can look back on that to see more of the details on it. But it's created in China by a company called TTArtisans, the Thinking Artisans, and it was launched in 2019 and retails for $755. I bought this used. I got it for like $300 and something. So again, almost $13,000 or $755. But you could save some money and buy this used. Maybe you can get it for $8,000. What a deal! Or $300 getting this used. And again, that's what we're looking at, is kind of what are the differences between the two lenses. They're both pretty good, but again, is this one that much better than this one because of the price tag?
No!
We'll see. So, let's do some head-to-head comparisons anyway. So, they're both hefty. They're both something that you may not want to be lugging around with you all day long on the end of your camera, especially on the end of a rangefinder, an M10 or whatnot. It's going to be a little strain on your wrist and everything. If you got a neck strap, it's going to be a little strain on your neck muscles holding it up too. So again, it's hefty. You know, if we look at the individual specs on these things, the elements in them, the Noctilux has a 8 element in 5 group setup versus the TTArtisans has 11 elements in 8 groups. So more elements, does that help? We'll see when we start looking at photos. Close focus distance, this one you need a meter to focus in as close as you can. This one, 70 centimeters. So 30 centimeters less than the Noctilux. That's kind of nice. So maybe that's where those extra elements came in. They made a difference there. Now they're both, because of what they are, 0.95. The bokeh, or bokeh, if some people would rather say it that way, is pretty excellent in both of them.
With rich, smooth, buttery bokeh.
Some may argue that they like this one better than this one. Is that because this is a Leica? Is it because it's more expensive? Is it because it's made in Germany? But the bokeh is pretty good on this one too. So blade-wise, this one has 11 blades. This one has 14. More blades. These ones are straight. These ones are curved. You know, when you stop down, the aperture blades on the TTArtisan actually stay round the entire time. The Noctilux is round wide open and round at 16, f16. In between, you get little notches throughout your bokeh balls, if you can see them. So, does that make a difference? Depends on, again, on the quality of the out of focus background called bokeh and what you're expecting as a photographer. Weight-wise, they feel very similar, but this one is heavier. Again, less glass, but it's heavier. So it's 700, some you read online, some will say 760. I don't know where it's getting the biggest difference from, but could be 700, could be 760. I don't have a scale with me, so I'm not going to measure it for you. This one's 687, so it's basically 13 grams less, or depending on the long end, if it's 760, it's a lot less. So, again, but they're heavy still, either way. You know, I could do some workouts for this and start building those biceps, buddy. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Physically, physically speaking, they're similar in length. The TTArtisan's a little wider, it's a little bigger lens, more girth.
That's what she said.
Do you like the girth? And looking at the rear elements on them, the Leica Noctilux has a larger rear element than the TTArtisans. So, kind of reminds me of if you like a big rear or versus a small one. Because if you like big butts.
Like big butts, and I cannot lie.
And, you know, the front element is pretty comparable in size-wise. So, again, you can't compare much there. They're both metal. They're both very smooth. They both have clicked aperture rings. You know, what else can I say? You know, the TTArtisan looks nice with its shiny metal. It's shiny bling, but it's, you know, again, the aperture ring or the aperture settings, you know, start at 0.95, then go to 1.4. This one's 0.95 and goes to 1.1, then 1.4, and then they match each other up the range from there. So again, the TTArtisan has, you know, that extra added little something something. But you may say, well, that's because it was released in 2019. This one's 2008. So, well, they had time to try and outdo the Noctilux. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Other similarities, they're both sharp, wide open. You know, both got a little vignetting issue going on. You know, wide open that you'll lose as you start to stop down. Bokeh excellent, obviously, on both. Your ideal ideal range for subject separation and the effects of the bokeh background and whatnot is somewhere between 1 and 3 meters from the subject. So they're not designed for like landscape, obviously. They're not great for long distance photos and things like this, like other 50s, like some of my killer 50s that I have up here. So what can I say? They're both pretty excellent. So let me show you some pictures of first the end of my camera, and I've actually already taken pictures of them ahead of time, so I'm not going to do like I usually do and have a live shootout. So here's the Noctilux at 0.95. And here's the TTArtisan at 0.95. Here's the Noctilux at 1.4. And here's the TTArtisan at 1.4. So, yeah, there you go. There's a couple comparisons. Here's some shots of Dylan. You know, you always want to watch my videos to get shots of Dylan because, hey, that's why we're out here, right? Lenses, but it's really, you want to see Dylan. So let's take some time out here for looking at some comparisons with the Noctilux versus the TTArtisan. And so here's some shots of Dylan at various apertures. And how about some random stuff taken with the Noctilux? Some outdoor stuff, some trees and cars and buildings and beaches and other people. And it's great. These are fantastic for portraiture. That's really what it's designed for. It's got a super shallow depth of field though when you're at 0.95, so you better take a few shots to try and get that one decent picture out of the 10 that you take, because you're more than likely to be out of focus somewhere in the range, especially when you're taking shots at Dylan and he's moving all over the place. So it's a challenge. So anyway, here's some shots of random shit. All right, and next I want to just put a little plug in for my favorite software that I'm using for editing my photos. So after you've done taking shots with your Noctilux or with your TTArtisan, you want to edit some of those photos to make them just a tad bit better than they were coming straight out of camera. So what are you going to use? I use Luminar, Luminar AI and Luminar Neo. Now, Luminar AI is pretty cool by itself. Artificial intelligence, right? It analyzes your photos, makes suggestions. You can either accept those suggestions or tweak them a little bit to make them your own.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
That's what I do. The templates that they choose for you are nice, but why not make them your own? So you tweak a little bit here and there. Luminar Neo It's kind of their full package that's coming out to replace Luminar 4. It's got all kinds of cool bells and whistles. I've got the early bird version. It's not the full package yet, but it's for a trial, so I'm trying it out, and it's so far so good. Has 3 new functions. Power line removal. No more brushing, taking time to red stripe all those power lines and hope you get rid of them all with no artifacts. Well, this package will analyze the photo for you, and one click of the button, gone. Whoop, voila. Same with dust spots and you know, any other blemishes on your photo. It'll analyze it. One click of the button, gone. And then the last feature, the third one, is a relighting thing in case you got some weird funky lighting going on, some funky cold Medina. You can move your lighting from one place to another. You can backlight, forelight, reduce light, increase light. You know, you can do a lot of different things with it. So that is a pretty cool feature in itself, right? It's got Lightroom and Photoshop and Capture One and all these others scrambling to try and keep up with them. So yeah, there's a lot of people who bash on Luminar. Oh, they do this, so they're always coming up with new software, making us buy this, buy that.
They suck. They just suck.
Well, it's only $60 or $70 or so. That's already economical in itself. But if you want to save $10, click below. You know, use my little link and you'll save $10, so it's only $50 or $60. Who can complain about that, right? And it's yours for life. You buy it, you download it, put it on your computer, and you never have to pay another thing. You know, never have to do any monthly subscriptions or anything else. It's yours, yours, yours. Can't complain about that, right? So, now that I've said that, you know, can I recommend these guys? Sure, if you've got the money, honey, go ahead and get yourself a Noctilux. But if you're like me and you have better things to do with $8,000 up to $13,000,
No way.
get yourself a TTArtisan. It's good enough. Most people can hardly tell. You put them side by side, and guess what? That's what I'm going to do right now. So let's see if you can figure out which one is which. So I'm going to give you a few samples side by sides, or one right after the other, and you're going to take a guess at which one was which. Is it A, B, C, or D? And I'll tell you at the end of the, well, I won't tell you, but I'll post it for you at the end of the video. So here's a comparison right here. And what else can I say besides, hey, why don't you support us? I say us as in Dylan, but he's not here now. He's off going to bed. So my wife took him away, and there he is, off to bed. He's going to sleep. So on behalf of Dylan, subscribe. And on behalf of me, I'm asking nicely, subscribe. Support us, help to expose us to the world, and subscribe. And then give us a thumbs up, because thumbs up girls is almost my favorite part of the show, because I think they're kind of cute. So thumbs up. And last but not least, stay safe out there. Remember, it's a COVID world. It's currently an Omicron world. Luckily, it's not here in Vietnam yet, but give it time, it'll get here. It's everywhere else, so why wouldn't it come to Vietnam? Don't discriminate against us.
Good morning, Vietnam!
So I just had my Pfizer booster shot there. Yesterday. So yeah, I guess I'm somewhat protected, but we'll see how it goes anyway. So don't be an anti-vaxxer. Get out there and hey, nobody's dropping dead from these vaccines, so it's not the killer vaccine or the government control vaccine or whatever conspiracy theory you can come up with. Just do it. All right, and I want you to come back next week, you hear? Because you belong here. That's right. And where do you belong? At Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. And it's brought to you by Modesty Photography, where we're here to tell you all about little tips and tricks and beginner stuff you may not know. Maybe fill your head full of BS, because, you know, sometimes I just babble on about anything. But I'm also here to talk about lenses, vintage lenses. You know, there's a top core 58 1.4. Woo, that's a killer vintage lens, right? But a little talk about photography or just about anything, really. You know, that's what we're all here for. So come on back next week and we'll do it all again. All right? So take care, have a nice day, have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye-bye.
Here I am,